coming up.
Back in after World War II, there was a period in the United States, about 20 to 30 years, where when people came back from the war, they were given home loans that they had no interest or didn't even have to pay back. They were given cars, they were given free college education, they were given all of these things that purposely excluded black people. So there was a time in this country where white people got handouts, but we didn't call it that. Back at the time, the GI Bill, all of those funds, we didn't call it a handout, we called it an opportunity. And when people look back on that time, they look back on that time, a lot of white people, as a very happy time because they got a leg up in the country, they got a fresh start, they got the money and the support that they needed to build the generational wealth that they have today. And black people didn't have access to it. They were literally purposely excluded because of racism, because of Jim Crow, because of all of these things that purposely left us out and did not give us access to the same type of help that white people did.
Where did you get that information from? I know that the Democratic representatives, the party itself, they, as I mentioned earlier, they don't respect blacks. They think that blacks are not capable enough to do it for themselves. So they offer them affirmative action and reparations and things like that. They think that the blacks can't take care of themselves, so they're lowering the standards in order to get into a white university. They're now telling the blacks that they don't have to take the test because they can't pass the white man's test. They think that the blacks, rather than having a father and mother in the home, they offer them government. They don't believe that the blacks are capable. And what I don't understand about that, and since you are involved in strategizing for them, what I don't understand, why do the blacks accept themselves being treated that way? Like they just can't do it. They're lowering the whole, even to get in certain jobs and things, they're lowering the standards for the blacks so that they can get it, otherwise they won't get it. I don't understand why the blacks put up with that.
Those type of things are just kind of balancing the scales from things that happened decades before. So as you know, slavery happened. It wasn't that long ago, as you know.
Over 150 years ago.
And my mother, not my grandmother, my mom went to a segregated school. So it's not that long ago.
I did too.
Okay, so you understand. It's not like this is distant.
But blacks were better off then. They didn't beg, they didn't blame.
Let's see. So back in after World War II, there was a period in the United States, about 20 to 30 years, where when people came back from the war, they were given home loans that they had no interest or didn't even have to pay back. They were given cars, they were given free college education, they were given all of these things that purposely excluded black people. So there was a time in this country where white people got handouts, but we didn't call it that. Back at the time, the GI Bill, all of those funds, we didn't call it a handout, we called it an opportunity. And when people look back on that time, they look back on that time, a lot of white people, as a very happy time because they got a leg up in the country, they got a fresh start, they got the money and the support that they needed to build the generational wealth that they have today. And black people didn't have access to it. They were literally purposely excluded because of racism, because of Jim Crow, because of all of these things that purposely left us out and did not give us access to the same type of help that white people did.
Where did you get that information from? Because it's not true. Where did you get that from?
The GI Bill, you should look it up.
I know black men who went to the military and they got the GI Bill too. It wasn't just the white. I have family members who went to the military, they got the GI Bill. Yeah. When they got out, they were able to go to school and they were able
to purchase. But a lot of them were excluded. They were able to purchase
a home and things like that. And they were black, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where you get that information from because it's not true.
It's just true. We can agree to disagree, but it is a fact.
I grew up in Alabama when the Jim Crow law existed, and that what you said wasn't true.
Yeah, my family
black
grew up
people
in
were
Texas.
doing better during the Jim Crow law than they are today because they weren't begging and blaming, and the country didn't have to lower the standards to let them in.
It's not lowering the standards, it's giving people access. We know right now, literally recently in Texas, there was a job posting that went out where people were sending clone resumes, same exact resume, you just put a black name on it and a white name on it, and the white people were still getting the job or getting called for interviews when the black name wasn't. Like, this is 2023. So, racism exists.
Why would a company want to hire a person with a black name? They know that that's trouble.
Why is that trouble?
Because when the blacks changed their name to black names, they're saying out loud, well, we hate white folks. We're not going to work with them. We're
That's
not going
not
to get
what
along.
that says.
And so I would never hire anyone with a black name.
Well, that's bias. And
Because I know that you're bringing in trouble. This person's already want me to get along with my white employees and things like that.
Well, that's
And
internalized racism.
I wouldn't hire that.
That's your choice.
You know
but
what I
that's
mean?
Bias.
So
and that's
why would
that's racist.
why would a company want to hire someone that you know already going to bring trouble?
That's not true. I'm Nigerian. I have a Nigerian name. Amani Onyoha is
But you
a
grew up in
Caucasian
America,
name.
though. You didn't grow up in Nigeria.
And there's a lot of black people who have ethnic names who grew up in America. So what's the difference?
But why would a company want to hire a black with a black name?
Why not?
No, I'm asking. I just told you
Why
why
not?
not,
If
because
they
it's
fit-
trouble.
Why is it trouble? Black people are trouble? Is that your
When they
opinion?
change their name to abnormal names like black names,
Mm-hmm.
they're saying they're angry. They are.
Do you think we don't change our name? Last time I checked, I didn't choose my name.
I know,
was
but
given
your
my
mother,
name at birth.
your folks are from a different country, so
My
of
mom is
course,
from here.
But your father's from there, right? Mm-hmm. It's of course they're gonna have different names. I'm talking about the blacks who were Americans and they had American names at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that? Oh, so you think that it's okay that the reason that you are a Democrat and no problem with it, you're okay with them lowering the standards for the blacks?
They're not lowering the standards for
What
the
would you call
blacks.
it? Because these people
They're
are not qualified.
If you're not qualified, then you won't get the job. But
But-
if you have the qualifications,
But
if
the
you have
qualified
the
person
resume,
is the person that can pass the test,
if you can pass
not the one that
test.
can't pass the test.
There's a lot of black people who have had affirmative action who have passed the test and are very educated. They have master's degrees. They have high GPAs.
But how would
they
you know
pass
that,
the
though,
test.
since you know that they only get into these schools based on color?
They're not
And so
only
they're-
getting into the schools
the
based on
standards
color.
been lowered so the blacks can get in. So you have to assume that all the blacks are just getting in because, not because of qualification, but because of affirmative action.
It's just not true.
Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay. You believe that there are benefits to having a more progressive leadership that is willing to change the law for working class people, such as raising the minimum wage. Are you okay if you had a business, your own business? Would you be okay with the government telling you in your own private business that you have to raise the minimum wage?
I have my own private business because
Oh, you
I'm
do?
a partner at this firm, so I do own a portion of the firm. And we unionized our staff. We told them, hey, y'all should unionize. And we did their union negotiation in 2 days. We gave them good wages, they got medical, and we are bound by that union contract, and it goes up every year, and we have to reaffirm it, and we did it, and it's fine.
You wouldn't have done it had not you gotten a union? You
We
wouldn't have
had it
naturally
anyway.
done that?
Yeah, we told them to unionize.
No, if they had not gotten a union, you would not have paid them for what they were worth.
We were still paying them really well. We just wanted just to have that partnership with the union to hold us accountable. We were already paying them well. They already had great wages. So when it came down to negotiate, we ratified our union contract in 2 days. It didn't take long because we had already been providing the things that they would have wanted. So
And
yeah,
you say you needed the union to hold you responsible?
we don't need them to, but we're not afraid of it. What's the
But
problem?
why, if you were going to do the responsible thing, why did you need a union? I don't quite understand.
We didn't need it, but our staff, people want it. Like, people like to be unionized. They like to have the backing of a union. So yeah, they're here. They're our partners in it, and it's working out great.
But I don't quite understand, because if you guys were going to do the right thing anyway, and the staff knew that, why would they want a union? Because now they have to pay union dues.
We told them to unionize.
Now
and
they have to
wanted
pay union dues.
And they're happy.
They may get a raise, but that raise going to go toward the union dues, which benefit the unions to go to the Democratic representatives to help support the Democrats to get what they want to get.
Yeah, we can be transparent. Union dues are 0.08% of our staff's paycheck. And that's something that they wanted to do. Again, they formed the union. They voted on it. That's what they wanted to do because they wanted that type of protection, and we were cool with it. It doesn't cost them much. It probably cost them $20 a paycheck, but you got the whole backing of a huge union behind you, which is great for them. And they wanted that, and we was cool with it.
That's amazing.